In a world obsessed with filters and flawless surfaces, true magnetism doesn't come from perfection. It comes from the courage to be fully, unapologetically real. Think about it. What truly draws us in isn't what's polished, but what's authentic. As Carl Jung revealed, we don't desire what appears flawless. We're drawn to what feels real. And what feels real has weight. It stays with people long after the moment passes. Most of us spend years hiding the very parts of ourselves that make us impossible to forget. We're taught to smooth out our edges, to cover our paradoxes, to silence the traits society labels as too much or not enough. But here's the quiet truth. What you've buried is often the source of your calm authority, your grounded presence, your ability to shift a room without raising your voice. Suppression doesn't create peace. It creates distance from yourself. This isn't about being loud, impressive, or perfect. It's about being coherent inside. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius didn't speak to impress. He talked to understand himself. Epictetus didn't chase attention. He mastered his inner world. That's real strength. When you own your truth fully, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop asking for permission to take up space. If you've ever felt too much, not enough, or strangely invisible, no matter how much you give, this video will challenge that story. We'll break down 7 paradoxical traits that make someone truly unforgettable. Not through charm, performance, or strategy, but by becoming so rooted in who you are that your presence can't be replaced. Welcome to Stoic Philosophy Daily, where your story matters. Share your experience or your biggest struggle below. Every comment you leave is a gift. Here, your voice matters. We read with care, answer with heart, and treat your journey as part of our own. This is more than a channel, it's a circle of strength. If you're ready to let go of the act and stand out by being real, drop a comment. Authenticity is my power. Stay with us as we explore all 7 principles. Your journey toward unshakable presence starts now. 1. Drop the mask, become unforgettable. Let's be brutally honest. Most people aren't living, they're performing, not on a stage, but in everyday life. You see it at work when you nod along with ideas you don't believe in. You feel it at dinner when you swallow your real opinion to avoid judgment. In relationships, you agree to plans you quietly resent to keep the peace. Over time, that performance hardens into a habit, and slowly you forget who you are underneath it. That's the real cost. Every mask trades authenticity for approval, and no amount of applause ever fills that gap. Aristotle said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." However, self-knowledge can fade when you continually reshape yourself to meet expectations. This isn't just about social media, it's about the daily moments where you dim your excitement, soften your boundaries, or shrink your presence to keep others comfortable. We learn early that being fully ourselves is risky, too loud, too honest, too different. Yet history says otherwise. Carl Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who others prefer, but the real evolving you." Jung called this individuation, integrating every part of yourself, not just the acceptable ones. Wholeness, not perfection, is what draws people in. Think of those you remember most. They weren't flawless. They made you feel safe enough to be real. Authenticity doesn't demand attention. It creates a connection. In a world flooded with appearances, realness becomes a quiet rebellion. Socrates urged us to examine our lives. Ask yourself honestly, where are you performing just to be liked? Where are you trading truth for comfort? When you remove a mask, maybe by saying no or admitting what you truly want, there's a flash of anxiety. Then relief follows. Alignment replaces tension. You may be called too much by people who need you to be manageable. Epictetus reminded us, freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's not being owned by anything outside of you. When you stop folding yourself to fit in, you reclaim that freedom. Plato warned about mistaking shadows for reality. Chasing approval is often just chasing a shadow. Authenticity isn't always smooth. Sometimes it's lonely, but when you stop hiding, the right people recognize you. The rest fall away. That's not a loss, that's alignment. You were never meant to be acceptable to everyone. You were meant to be whole. Next time you feel the urge to play it safe, pause and ask, is this really me? Or just the version that will be accepted? That moment of honesty is where self-respect begins. You won't be remembered for blending in. You'll be remembered by those who felt your presence and trusted your truth. At Stoic Daily, we believe authenticity is the highest form of strength. Share below. What mask are you ready to let go of this week? What truth will you honor even if not everyone approves? 2. Grow for yourself, not for approval. Real growth isn't a performance. It's an act of self-respect. Most people chase milestones, stack achievements, or continually reinvent themselves to match what others expect, hoping this will finally earn them a sense of belonging. However, there's a subtle difference that many miss. Fitting in means adjusting your tone, your values, even your identity to secure a seat at someone else's table. Belonging means building your own table and refusing to betray yourself to keep others comfortable. That distinction changes everything. Plato said, "The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself." That's the core of real transformation. Not the image you project, but the discipline you practice when no one is watching. Marcus Aurelius echoed this. Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. No spectacle. No announcement. Just choosing, again and again, to act in a way you can respect when you're alone with yourself. Look honestly at your own life. Perhaps you're holding on to friendships, habits, or beliefs that once protected you, but now quietly limit your growth. Growth asks a hard question. Which parts of your life are still home, and which are just leftovers from old survival strategies? There's often a quiet, slightly lonely moment when you realize belonging begins only after you stop twisting yourself for approval and start honoring your values above your fears. The psychological shift is subtle but powerful. At first, letting go of your old uniform can feel like exile, as if choosing yourself means standing alone. But stay with it. As you keep walking, clarity replaces anxiety, peace replaces noise, self-respect deepens. Socrates warned us that the unexamined life is not worth living. In that honest reflection, you begin to see where you've traded truth for acceptance. Each time you choose reflection over reaction, discipline over impulse, courage over comfort, you strengthen integrity as a living habit. Don't confuse this with self-rejection. Growth isn't about despising where you are. It's about loving yourself enough to refuse stagnation. Aristotle wrote, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." Growth works the same way. Not a single leap, but daily alignment. Over time, your silence carries more weight than explanations. Your boundaries hold without apology. Your peace grows louder than your anxiety, and the people who matter find you not for the mask you wore, but for the strength that comes from finally belonging to yourself. At Stoic Daily, we believe real growth is the courage to stop fitting in and the self-respect to choose yourself. Comment below. What part of your old uniform are you ready to outgrow? 3. Embrace your scars, own your story. Let's be honest. Most people aren't hiding their flaws. They're hiding their history. Every day we edit ourselves to fit in. We post highlights, say I'm fine when we're worn down, and sand down our edges to avoid judgment. At work, you nod instead of disagreeing. At dinner, you swallow your truth. In relationships, you agree to keep the peace. Over time, that constant editing doesn't just exhaust you. It erases your sense of who you really are. Every mask becomes a quiet trade, authenticity for approval, and no amount of applause ever fills what's lost. Aristotle said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, but self-knowledge can't grow where self-erasure is routine." This isn't just about social media. It's about the small moments when you dim your excitement, hide your conviction, or shrink your presence so others stay comfortable. We learn early that honesty feels risky, too loud, too real. Yet history proves otherwise. Carl Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not the approved version, the whole one." Jung called this individuation, integrating scars with strengths. Wholeness, not perfection, is what people feel and remember. Think of those who stayed with you. They weren't flawless. They made it safe to be human. The friend who admitted anxiety, the leader who made a mistake. We don't remember Polish. We remember truth lived in small moments. In a world flooded with appearances, realness becomes a quiet revolt. Socrates urged us to examine our lives. Ask plainly, where are you performing just to be liked? Where are you trading truth for comfort? When you remove a mask, maybe by saying no or finally naming what you want, there's a flash of anxiety. Then relief follows. Not loss, but alignment. You may be labeled too much by people who prefer you manageable. Epictetus reminded us, freedom to do whatever you want. It's not being owned by anything outside of you. When you stop folding yourself to fit expectations, you reclaim the freedom to avoid chasing shadows instead of reality. Approval is often just a shadow. Authenticity isn't always smooth. Sometimes it's lonely, but when you stop hiding, clarity replaces confusion. The right people recognize you, the rest drift away. That's not a loss, that's the truth. You were never meant to be digestible to everyone. You were meant to be whole, scars included. Next time you feel the urge to play it safe, pause and ask, is this really me? Or just the version that will be accepted? That moment is where self-respect begins. You won't be remembered for blending in. You'll be remembered by those who felt your presence and trusted your truth. At Stoic Daily, we believe your scars aren't liabilities. They're proof you lived honestly. Share below. What part of your story are you ready to own? 4. Stop waiting to be chosen. Let's be honest. Many people spend their lives waiting to be chosen, not loudly but quietly. You see it in the way we perform every day just to fit in. We post highlight reels, say, "I'm fine" when we're drained, and soften our edges so we don't disturb anyone. At work, you nod along with ideas you don't agree with. At dinner, you swallow your real opinion. In relationships, you agree to keep the peace. Over time, that constant editing can have a dangerous effect. You don't just lose energy, you lose memory of who you are. Every mask trades authenticity for approval, and no amount of applause ever fills that void. Aristotle said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." But self-knowledge can't survive when you're always reshaping yourself to meet expectations. This isn't about social media alone. It's about the daily moments where you shrink your presence to stay acceptable. We learn early that being fully ourselves feels risky, too loud, too honest, too different. Yet every world changer was told the same lie. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Jung called this individuation, integrating the parts you were told to hide. Wholeness, not perfection, is what creates presence. Think about the people you remember. They weren't flawless. They made you feel like you didn't have to pretend. We don't know Polish. We place honesty in small moments. In a world obsessed with appearances, realness becomes a refusal to beg. Socrates urged us to examine our lives. Ask yourself plainly, where am I performing just to be liked? Where am I trading truth for comfort? When you remove a mask, maybe by saying no or finally naming what you want, anxiety spikes. Then something steadier follows. Relief, self-respect. You'll be told you're too much by people who want you manageable. Epictetus reminded us, freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's not being owned by anything outside of you. Plato warned that approval is often just a shadow. The more you chase it, the less real you become. Authenticity isn't always smooth. Sometimes it's lonely. But when you stop begging to be chosen, clarity replaces confusion. The right people recognize you. The rest drift away. That's not rejection. That's alignment. You were never meant to be digestible to everyone. The next time you feel the urge to shrink yourself, pause and ask, am I choosing myself here or waiting to be chosen? That moment is where dignity returns. At Stoic Daily, we believe self-respect begins the moment you stop begging to be chosen and start standing in your truth. 5. Never apologize for your depth. There's an unspoken rule in society. Don't feel too much, don't care too deeply, blend in. But let's be honest, that doesn't create a connection. It establishes performance, distance, and a muted version of yourself. If you've ever been told you're too much, too emotional, or too intense, hear this clearly. That isn't a flaw. It's depth asking to be directed, not hidden. You feel deeply because you're alive. You care intensely because you're paying attention. The world often tries to make you smaller because intensity can't be controlled. It demands presence and refuses to stay shallow. As Carl Jung wrote, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. Your depth isn't here to break you. It's here to wake you. When others feel uneasy around it, that discomfort usually reflects their limits, not your excess. Aristotle spoke of moderation, but moderation was never a matter of suppression. It was mastery, feeling without drowning and caring without losing yourself. That's emotional courage. In a world addicted to numbing out, honesty of feeling is rare. Staying open when it hurts requires more strength than detachment ever will. People call you too much because your presence disrupts avoidance. Your passion exposes apathy. Your truth makes masks feel heavy. Instead of examining themselves, they label you difficult. But Stoicism never taught emotional denial. It taught understanding. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Depth becomes strength when it's guided, not apologized for. Your task isn't to shrink, it's to channel intensity into purpose. Let emotion inform you, not rule you. That's maturity. Socrates said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. Knowing yourself means accepting how deeply you feel and refusing to make yourself wrong for having those feelings. Your sensitivity becomes discernment. Your depth becomes clarity. No, you're not too much. You're unwilling to live numb. In a world that settles, you choose to care fully. That doesn't make you difficult. It makes you unforgettable. Don't dilute yourself for comfort. The right people won't ask you to shrink. They'll recognize the fire you bring. At Stoic Daily, we believe depth is not a weakness. It's disciplined power. Share below. When were you told you were too much, and what changed when you stopped apologizing for it? 6. Boundaries are filters, not walls. There's a quiet power that wakes up the moment you stop apologizing for your needs and start living by your own standards. It's the shift from tolerating what drains you to building boundaries that protect your energy. You're no longer trapped in one-sided relationships. or endless cycles of pretending. Old patterns fall away, not because the world changed, but because you did. When you realize that betraying yourself to keep someone is already too expensive, you stop accepting scraps and start holding out for what's real. As Epictetus said, "Never value anything as profitable to yourself, which shall compel you to break your promise, to lose your self-respect, or to hate any man." From that point on, self-respect becomes non-negotiable. The journey starts small and uncomfortable. You pause before saying yes out of guilt. You breathe before people-pleasing. You practice saying no without apology. Each boundary, even when it feels shaky, sends a clear message inward. My peace matters. Over time, boundaries stop being about pushing people away and begin to function as filters. They quietly separate those who respect your clarity from those who only valued your sacrifice. Carl Jung observed, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. That acceptance ends the habit of performing for love." When you stop apologizing for your needs, expectations change. You stop demanding fantasies and start expecting honesty. The people who needed you small drift away. The right ones meet you where you stand. Boundaries don't mean you're better than anyone else. They tell you you've finally decided you're not less. The question shifts. Not, am I asking for too much? But why was I settling for so little? Socrates taught that change comes from building the new, not fighting the old. This is that work, choosing peace over popularity and creating habits of self-respect. This clarity doesn't just protect your energy, it reshapes your presence. The world adjusts. The wrong ones fall away. The right ones move closer. Boundaries don't keep love out. They let the right kind of love in. As Aristotle reminded us, we are what we repeatedly do. Let holding your standard become that habit. At Stoic Daily, we believe boundaries are an invitation to your real tribe. Share below. What's one boundary you'll reinforce this week to protect your peace? 7. Fill your own cup first. When you raise your standards and protect your peace, your relationships change at the root. Love stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like a choice. The kind of love that whispers, "Don't leave me, I need you to be okay," isn't love. It needs wearing devotion. And that kind of attachment drains both people because it asks for rescue rather than presence. As Carl Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Yet that acceptance is where real love begins. When you're whole, your love stops being a lifeline and becomes a light. Intensity is often mistaken for love, but real connection isn't built on fear of loss or emotional dependence. It's built on freedom, the freedom to choose someone again and again, not because you're afraid to be alone, but because you want to share what you already have. The Stoics warned us never to place our peace in what we can't control. Epictetus reminded us, only the educated are free. Emotional education means learning to give love from a place of fullness, not for validation or approval. Think of someone who enters a room calm and grounded, with joy that is not dependent on approval. You feel it immediately. That presence steadies rather than consumes. It comes from someone who knows they are already enough. Socrates warned that love fueled by obsession burns fast and ends cold. Love rooted in wholeness breathes, it evolves. It offers a hand, not a lifeline. This is why filling your own cup isn't selfish, it's essential. When your cup is empty, every relationship becomes an attempt to be filled. But when you've made peace with yourself, what you offer is abundance. The right people won't try to take advantage of you. They'll respect your fullness. Aristotle believed the highest form of love was philia, a bond where both seek the good in each other, not control. Ask yourself honestly, am I giving love from a wound or from wisdom, from fear or from freedom? Love should never feel like survival. It should feel like light. You don't need someone to complete you. You need someone who complements the wholeness you've built. So fill your soul first. Know your worth. Let your love flow from abundance, not a need to be rescued. The most unforgettable energy is quiet certainty. You are already whole. At Stoic Daily, we believe love is strongest when it comes from a place of abundance, not lack. Share below. How will you fill your own cup this week? Stand whole, walk forward. The most unforgettable presence you'll ever carry is the quiet certainty that you are already whole. When you stop chasing approval, stop performing for validation, and choose yourself first, something steady and powerful takes root. The right people rise to meet your light. They don't just stay. They respect your boundaries and protect your energy because they recognize something rare and real within you. That's the presence that lingers long after you leave the room, not loud or demanding, but grounded in the knowing that you are enough without having to shrink or prove a thing. This journey was never about becoming perfect. It's about becoming deliberate, honestly, and with purpose. Each standard you raise, each truth you honor, each moment you choose self-respect over approval, you strengthen the person you're becoming. The Stoic path isn't a finish line you cross once. It's a daily commitment to rise, to adjust, to return to yourself again and again, especially when life tests you. Thank you for walking this path with Stoic Philosophy Daily. This space is more than philosophy. It's a steady reminder that growth is built step by step and that wholeness is practiced, not achieved overnight. Carry what resonated with you forward. Let it shape how you speak, choose, and show up. Stay grounded, keep becoming, and remember, your light doesn't need permission to exist. Share below what you're taking with you from this journey and step calmly but confidently into what comes next.
If you're seeking more, discover the full path on my channel, Stoic Philosophy Daily.